Hello, welcome to our session, 10 Ways to Engage with IFLA. I'm Megan Price, IFLA's Professional Support Officer, and I will be your host for this session. We're happy to have you here, so please use the chat to introduce yourself and ask questions during the session. I will help with passing these on to the presenters. Today, I'm joined by Gerald Leitner, IFLA's Secretary General, Helen Mandel, IFLA's Deputy Secretary General and Director Member Services, Stephen Weiber, IFLA's Policy and Advocacy Manager, Despina Gerasimidou, IFLA's Strategic Development Officer, Christine Paberza, IFLA's Member Engagement Officer, and guest speaker Mara Jakobsona, President of the Library Association of Latvia. Before we start, just a bit of housekeeping. We're sharing a slide deck, which you see on your screen as a separate square, similar in size to our video feeds. Please double click on the slides to enlarge them. Now, we are excited to share with you the 10 ways that you can engage with IFLA. I would like to now invite our Secretary General, Gerald Leitner, to welcome you all. Gerald?
Thank you, Megan, and thank you all for joining, and thank you to the Progress Foundation for putting on such a great event. And I'm glad that IFLA is able to be with you here. And I have to say, it was always a real privilege for me to work in the library field. It's an energetic, passionate place, and it's even more of a real privilege to be working for IFLA, to be at the heart of this, providing spaces and opportunities for changes and learning that drives us forward. That helps good ideas to spread, that gives emerging leaders the chance to grow, that gives everyone from the biggest national research library to the smallest public or school library one, the knowledge that they're part of something bigger, that they are part of a movement. Of course, it would have been great to be meeting you in person now. I know I miss the buzz that there would have been at our Congress in Dublin. But the pandemic has, of course, made this impossible. But it has been so impressive to see how the library field has responded, has kept learning, sharing, building, and strengthening connections online. And we have had to do this. At the time of COVID-19, people need the possibility to get online, to learn, to work, to connect. Already before the pandemic, we know also that a lack of access to information too often means a lack of access to opportunity, of access to development. We know how important digital skills are, with misinformation about COVID-19 increasingly recognized as a health risk in its own right. The case and the need for libraries has never been stronger. Of course, in response, libraries never really closed. Rather, libraries simply opened in different ways, adapting, innovating, listening to the needs of communities they serve. Not to say that this has been not difficult. Therefore, we in IFLA see our goal and role to support this adaptation, this learning, the case, and the need for meetings such as these, and for IFLA has also never been stronger. IFLA is committed to inspiring, engaging, enabling, and connecting the global library field, to providing the structures and the opportunities that enable libraries to power literate, informed, and participatory societies, to being a catalyst, an incubator, a switchboard for ideas and insights that help make libraries better and so build better communities and, as said, a better world. This is the role we see in IFLA, to support all these activities. We have got a busy program for you here, but one that I hope will give you a good idea of all the ways in which you can engage with IFLA, to become part of IFLA. There will be 10 ways set out here, but this barely scratched the surface. Even after 4 years as Secretary General, I'm still discovering activities and actions taking place within our federation. So listen in, check out the links that you will see in the comment boxes as we go along, but also go further, see what else is going on and be part of it, because by bringing your contribution, you make our field as a whole stronger. With that, I wish you a great session. We are IFLA, and I ask you to become part of our movement to make the world a better one. Thank you so much and enjoy this session.
Okay, so hello from me as well. So it's really great to have a chance to feel that you are all here online and a way to interact with you. So one of the first and unique ways you could engage with IFLA is through the IFLA strategy. So here you can see just a few steps that you could take to engage with the IFLA strategy. And you know, many people hear about it and they are stressed, or they don't know how to handle it or make it their own. So really, in the next 5 minutes or so, I'd really like to break those barriers and show to you in a comprehensive way what does it mean in practice when we say align your actions to the IFLA strategy. Therefore, we invited with us here today Mara Jakobsone. Mara, maybe you could turn your camera and sound on now. Yeah, Mara is the president of the Library Association in Latvia, and she and her team have been done an amazing work in aligning their actions and strategies to the IFLA strategy. So before we go and have a live discussion with her, let's first watch a very short video that showcases their work. Okay, so Mara, welcome again. Maybe you can tell us just briefly about yourself and your association.
Hello, everyone. The Library Association of Latvia is a professional non-governmental organization that unites and represents libraries and librarians of Latvia. I am president of this association. The work in the association is voluntary. Basically, I work in the National Library with the issues of library network development.
Okay, and so how does the IFLA strategy make you feel, and what does it mean to you and your association?
IFLA strategy gives us an inspiration and courage to realize our plans and ideas, as well as the road signs. Which direction should we go in general? As umbrella association of all libraries and librarians, IFLA shows us what are the actual issues and what activities could we take and be successful in our development and growth. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, that's quite obvious actually from the kind of activities that you have been undertaking. So maybe you can describe to us a little bit about the actions that you took to engage with IFLA strategy. What did you do?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it started already last year when we chose the slogan of IFLA strategy, inspire, engage, enable, connect as the main theme of our festival and our library week for this year. And then we translated IFLA strategy in Latvian. It was very important. So you will show now the example.
This is the logo of your
it's in our language, and as well as we translated also IFLA membership leaflet to come closer, to give opportunity for our librarians to come closer with IFLA.
Yeah, and so that's how we actually spotted the activities of your community. And then we had many discussions and many back and forth emails and calls, and then we created this publication, which is on our website, on IFLA's website. And at that moment, actually, I'd also like to invite all participants here, in case you don't see the IFLA strategy translated in your own language, please do contact us. Christina, my colleague, will share here in the chat the link with the translations offered at the moment. At the end of that web page, you can see an email address, and we're very open to create more translations of this foundational document as the IFLA strategy document is. So Mara, what has been your most successful activity? Which one would you choose?
Okay, of course, it was our remote library week and the remote library festival with the theme of the IFLA strategy is very important. We have had more than 250 events online. It's also a very huge number. And these activities was made by all type libraries in our country. And it was first online congress in the history of our association. And one point to mention, we had also online elections of our new board. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, thank you so much. It's really impressive. And I think also you had the recorded speech of our president, Christine McKenzie. So I think that was also a great moment, that, you know, connection with IFLA and the IFLA strategy. And I think actually that your work is really impressive, how your work has been driven also by the IFLA strategy, and especially you have been focusing, I think, on key initiatives 2.4 and 2.2. So from what you've been saying and what I've known in depth also, it's quite obvious that you have been delivering high quality campaigns to engage and energize libraries. And very quickly and efficiently, I have to say, you have found the ways to provide tools to support the work of libraries, even in the midst of all this COVID-19 crisis, which is really, really amazing. And let me then finish our discussion by asking you, what kind of advice would you give to other associations? How could they get involved in the IFLA strategy?
My advice is very practical. First of all, I recommend to use IFLA strategy as a framework for your own planning documents, and keep the line of IFLA strategy in your strategic and action plans. It's very important. There is no need to invent something new. If there is already, we have a great example already taken. Even more, it's possibility to not feel lonely, but to belong to a big family of libraries and librarians, and IFLA as the umbrella association of all of us. So the smallest thing what you can do, but not least, you can link all your activities to IFLA strategy points and key initiatives, and underline to which key initiative your activity fits, and to underline it. It will help you to find yourself in IFLA strategy very well, and give also an inspiration and courage to continue to be part at IFLA. So I invite you to be more energetic, to take more energy to look to IFLA strategy and find to what key initiative your activity fits. Yeah, it's my great advice. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mara. This has been, I think, a great demonstration of, you know, the fantastic work you've been doing, and how can really a library association can make the best use of the IFLA strategy. So driven by this, I'd like to mention that there are many other associations around the world that have been aligning their strategies to the global one, and that they have been incorporating it in their everyday work, like the Latvian One Association. So my colleague Christina will share in the chat the link where you can see other publications that we have on our website. And please do go get there, explore what the others have been doing, and get inspiration. They might give you some examples of what you could do as well. So really, there are numerous things that you could do. Just let your imagination grow and be open, think out of the box. And remember that the IFLA strategy is a strategy made by all, is open for all. It's our strategy, so it belongs to every one of us. And please, if you do go and identify your own actions, then do contact me. This is my email address in the chat. Christina will put it here. Yes, she already did. Thank you, Christina. And we are very open for discussions, and we plan to continue featuring library associations' work on our website. And this can really be a unique opportunity for you all to get global visibility around your work. So do reach out for discussion or questions, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mara, for being with us.
Thank you, Destina. Let me rearrange my screen. So the second way how you can engage with IFLA is through SDG Stories. So the United Nations 2030 Agenda with its 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, has already been with us for 5 years and will continue to be a roadmap for all countries during the next 10 years. So the SDGs is a framework and a plan for everyone to engage in making our world a better place for every community and for every individual. And at IFLA, we believe that access to information is essential in achieving all the SDGs, and that the libraries are the key institutions in achieving the goals. And we advocate for libraries, not only being a key partners for development, but also for their existing contribution to achievement of the 17 goals. Therefore, we created a space for those SDG stories on the library map of the world, a space to show the power of libraries in achieving the SDGs, and to provide the library field with an advocacy resource that can help demonstrating to external audiences, especially our stakeholders and decision makers, the contribution of libraries in development in all of its dimensions. So on the Library Map of the World website, you will currently find more than 40 stories about impactful library projects and programs from around the world. And here is how you can engage. So first, if you are not familiar with the SDGs framework yet, let's learn more about it. Start with our infographic, information for development, where we explain why access matters across the SDGs. So it will give you a better idea about how your library might already be contributing through providing equal access to information, technology, or other basic services, training and skills development, empowerment, inclusion, awareness raising, or other ways. Secondly, use our stories as your own advocacy tool. In occasions when you need to make a case for libraries, especially when advocating with your decision makers. And for that, you can simply print out a selected story from the Library Map of the World website, or you can show it on social media. For that, follow IFLA and the Library Map of the World on Twitter. Or you can also play a short up to 1 minute long video about the story from our YouTube playlist, which already contains more than 20 videos for that. And last but not least, think of your own story to contribute to the Library Map of the World. And here look for the storytelling manual for guidance and use the storytelling flowchart for requirements to check if your story have all the elements that we look for before you submit and share your story with us. So your story on the map will not only increase the visibility of your own work, but will also help IFLA and many other libraries around the world in their own advocacy. So if you have a story ideas, or if you know of an exciting project happening in a library other than your own, please let us know about it by contacting the Library Map of the World team at librarymap@ifla.org. So this was shortly about the stories, but the third way of how you can engage with IFLA is related to data. So as well as helping you to understand the state of the library field and identify the future, the data can also be a powerful advocacy tool. Alongside stories, human-level examples that can create empathy, stimulate feelings, and stimulate the left side of the brain. It is also powerful to be able to show numbers.
something that gets the right side of the brain going. So, and thanks to the library map of the world, for the first time, we can actually take a broader perspective, crossing these numbers we have about libraries with other key indicators, especially those that are associated with the Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. Already, if you go online on the library map of the world site, you will see what is available for your own country. Not just how many libraries there are across different library types, but also how many staff and volunteers, how many loans or downloads, how many visits and registered users there are. And simply being able to quote these numbers in your advocacy increases the force of your arguments. But you can go even further. And in our library Stat of the Week series, we can start to make comparisons. For example, did you know that globally there are 6.4 public libraries for every 100,000 people, but in Europe it's almost 15, and in the Czech Republic it's almost 60. Or that the average academic and research library worker serves 207 students, but it's only about 150 in Germany, Switzerland, and Poland. And this type of data can help you demonstrate how the library field in your country compares to others. We can also link library data to wider development. For example, did you know that in societies with more public or community library workers, levels of social cohesion are higher? Or that where there are more libraries offering public internet access, the digital divide faced by groups at risk or marginalization, like people experiencing poverty, unemployment, women, those with lower education, is smaller. Or that in countries with more academic and research library workers per student, completion rates are higher, and that there is more publishing and more patenting. So we can start to show all of this, but of course, we don't know everything. So the data is available for download from the homepage of the Library Map of the World site. So, and we invite you to just try it yourself and share what you find. So that was the third way of engaging with IFLA.
Hello, everyone. Of course, the fourth way of engaging with IFLA is actually to become a member. Now, you might have heard of IFLA, but not really understand what IFLA is. We're not some special organization just for high flyers. IFLA is a membership organization, and our members are library associations, libraries, and individuals. Our members see the value in working together at an international level and learning from colleagues in countries all around the world. IFLA's members, of course, get benefits. They have a range of benefits from discounts to our conference or on IFLA publications. They also get subscription to the IFLA journal and the ability to nominate and to take part in elections for people to go on IFLA's expert committees. IFLA's members get involved in specialist groups and can join specialist lists at their particular area of interest. The thing that members of IFLA really do is to support IFLA's ability to work for them and to represent libraries on the world stage. You work within your own country, but information doesn't have borders, and librarians have to work together to address the challenges we all face. One of our recent new members was telling me how they felt quite depressed at one point when they were thinking about their workplace and the lack of funding that was available for special and new services. They attended the IFLA conference and met a range of people there, and she found out that many people were facing the same challenges and the same difficulties. She came away, though, with a lot of creative solutions after talking to people. She knew she wasn't alone, and she was able to come back to her workplace with inspiration. And you can find out about becoming an IFLA member on our website, but also by contacting us at membership@ifla.org. And why would you become a member? Because being part of IFLA lets you bring the world back to your workplace. If we move on now to number 5, I feel like we should have some kind of a gong or a music sound to introduce each new way to engage with IFLA. One of the other things that you can do is to discover IFLA's committees and sectors. IFLA has more than 50 expert committees. If you can imagine an area of librarianship and information science that you're interested in, IFLA has the committee for you. In these groups are more than 1,000 volunteers who give up their time to work together in committees on areas of interest to them and that benefit the global library field. They're our brains trust and part of IFLA's big engine of activity. We couldn't achieve everything we do just with the staff at IFLA headquarters. We need this huge group of volunteers. And what do they get out of it? A lot of great contacts and friendships and collegiality by meeting people from around the world. Each committee has experts from a variety of countries, and everyone brings a different perspective and experience to their topic. These committees have web pages on the IFLA website, and you can go and read about what exactly they're doing. Some of them put out newsletters regularly, others are working on standards, publications, others are doing web. And there's a lot of activity going on out there. If you're a technical librarian, you might have heard of ISBD, LRM, the Library Reference Model, or Unimark. Who produces these? IFLA does. And our committees are working on these technical standards and maintaining them for the benefit of libraries everywhere. And in your workplace, you might have used one of IFLA's standards, such as the Guidelines for Children's Library Services or the School Library Guidelines. Recently, we put out guidelines for library services for people experiencing homelessness, and this was particularly important with the refugee crisis that's happening everywhere around the world. And these internationally developed and recognized guidelines produced by IFLA are there for you. They don't tell you what to do in your library, but they provide an idea of best practices, and they can be a great reference point when you talk to your stakeholders. And many of these have translations. For instance, the school library guidelines are available in Romanian and in Russian. Many of IFLA's committees are launching virtual events, free learning opportunities as webinars or Zoom calls that you're welcome to attend and you can take advantage of. You can check out our IFLA calendar on the IFLA website to find out what's happening in the months ahead. And if you're younger, part of this fun, fantastic event over the next few days, you can also join our new professionals special interest group. They're young, active, and really looking at how can they be involved internationally as a new professional beginning their librarianship career. So what I have to say to finish up is that in the world of IFLA, there's something for everyone.
So thank you very much, Helen, and I promise that we will look for a gong sound for you. Also because I'm going to do the next 4, in fact, so I will definitely need a gong sound in the middle. So I'm Stephen Weiber, Manager Policy and Advocacy at IFLA, and the first way to engage with IFLA I want to talk about is learning from others about responses to COVID-19. Now, clearly, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a hugely disruptive effect on people's lives. It's triggered a series of crises which risk setting back development and progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals by years. Faced with this, libraries have needed to draw on all of their inventiveness, all of their resilience and their resourcefulness in order to continue to provide services to communities. They've not turned away from this challenge. There are so many great examples out there of rapid adoption of new technologies and new tools, of existing services brought online, of new ones being developed. From online story times and new repositories, to summer reading clubs, to virtual consultations, competitions, public debates, and even escape rooms, libraries have seized the potential of the internet, at least where copyright and access is allowed. They have distributed computers and Wi-Fi hotspots, or simply left the Wi-Fi on in the car park or outside, helping to address the digital divide. At a time of reopening, libraries' inventiveness has once again been put to the test and has proved itself essential, finding ways to offer the services that people need without putting users or staff at unnecessary risk. We have seen new ways of sharing books, drive-through services, reorganizing and providing access around the world. We have brought this all together at IFLA on our COVID-19 page, which offers ideas about how libraries are delivering services while keeping staff and users safe, reassigning resources and planning for reopening. Clearly, the pandemic is far from over. We're meeting here online, not in person. We cannot exclude that lockdowns and closures will return, so we're going to keep our page updated. And to do this, we need and welcome your inputs. Share your ideas and experiences that can help others. Let us know if you have plans or advice that could inform the choices made elsewhere. We're relying on you to help the entire global library field move forwards on this. Send us an email at update@ifla.org in order to share your ideas. Okay, on to number 7. This is going to talk about how we can actually be a library advocate. Now, we're all aware of the stereotype of librarians: quiet, introspective, a long way from the stereotype we normally have of lobbyists. But at the same time, with tough times coming, the communities that libraries serve need us to raise our voices. We and they need effective library advocacy in order to make sure that our services can continue and improve and innovate into the future. This sounds like a tough task. But it doesn't need to be for 3 key reasons. First of all, because we all have it in us to be a library advocate. Of course, effective campaigning needs people who can speak in public and form relationships, but it also needs people who can find and understand laws, gather stories, and build support on the ground. So I recommend you to click on the link that we have in the chat right now, which offers us in beta version our library advocate personality test. Find out, answer the questions. Are you a public speaker, a relationship builder, an evidence gatherer, a social media influencer, or someone else? Everyone has their own comparative strength. Find out what yours is. Secondly, because advocacy doesn't need to take time. Our 10-minute library advocate series, published once a week over the past year, sets out short activities that you can do, even just a coffee break, to improve your effectiveness. Try doing one a week and share where you get to with your colleagues and friends. Form a group even. Finally, because you can also take things step by step. Our advocacy capabilities grids aims to give you a tool in your library, in your association, to think about where you stand right now and where you may want to enhance your work. Sit down with the grid, the link is in the chat, and think about where you are now. Compare your answers with colleagues in order to work out where you want to focus next. On to number 8. So, on to number 8. So, be an international librarian. It's not always easy in a busy library to think beyond the short term. Especially in the last 6 months, many people have been feeling like they're always on the back foot, having to respond to crises rather than plan for the future. Taking the time to engage internationally, in particular, has been a long way from many people's minds. But engaging internationally doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be a huge investment of time and money. You can participate in the global field and help achieve its goals from your own home. Of course, you can, and we hope you will, come to conferences, join committees, become a member, become more involved. But to start, you can already take actions in just 10 minutes that will help you make the most of the fact that you do belong to a global field. And that's why we launched our 10-minute International Librarian series. Every Monday, we share an idea on our blog on how you can do this and welcome your thoughts. Sometimes it's about advocacy, sometimes about building connections, sometimes about learning from others, sometimes simply about taking an action linked to a key theme of IFLA's work. Sometimes even it's just about taking the time to think and plan, doing a quick bit of research online, preparing something easy and simple. But it's always something that brings you into alignment with the global field, that really makes you part of the movement. Now, of course, again, we need your ideas. It's not we don't have all the best ideas ourselves. We need to draw on your experience. What ideas have you found that are easy? Things that anyone can do in a short period of time that help you connect with others to realize the potential of the fact that you belong to this global field. Share more with them, share these with us on our blog, and there'll be a link in the chat, and we look forward to hearing more. Finally, we get involved on Library Wikipedia. Now, there's a lot that libraries have in common with Wikipedia, a commitment to making knowledge as freely and as widely available as possible, an awareness of how knowledge and information and knowledge is formed and shared. There are, of course, also so many amazing Wikipedians in our community, using their knowledge to create and improve pages for the benefit of people everywhere. Twice a year, we already celebrate One Lib, One Ref, or One Librarian, One Reference, which encourages members of our field to use their knowledge to make Wikipedia more reliable, more useful for everyone. Many are in fact already organizing editathons, especially focused on people, groups, and subjects which are less well represented, in particular women. A great illustration of how libraries can act positively to ensure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. But what about Library Wikipedia? The site can be a great way to raise awareness of what you have in your collections, about your services. It can also be a powerful tool to help colleagues learn about key ideas, key developments in the field. Later this year, we're looking forward to launching a new group focused on Wikidata, bringing opportunities to learn and engage in this exciting new project to people across the field. What's this space? We'll also be working to ensure that more and better quality information is available about the work of libraries in all languages and about the issues we know and care about in order to take the message further. So, as said, watch out for announcements, but already be thinking about the key subjects and the themes, especially in Wikipedia in your own languages, that aren't properly covered, and what you can do about it to strengthen the field.
Okay, so the torch is with me now. So this is the 10th, the last but not least way to how to engage with IFLA, and it's about the IFLA from Home initiative. So we launched the IFLA from Home initiative in May 2020, when after the COVID outbreak, libraries were around the world were obliged to close their doors for the safety of both their users and their staff. So at that time, we saw, of course, everyone saw a major shift towards providing services remotely. Libraries, museums, and other cultural institutions have found ways to ensure that their communities are engaged from services at home. So at that time, we also saw, you know, the hashtag museum from home, hashtag library from home digital movements. And IFLA too, of course, has been affected by the pandemic, with the WLAC being cancelled for the first time in 74 years. Well, however, despite this disappointment of not being able to meet you all in August this year, the good news is that IFLA is open all year round. So guided by the IFLA strategy, we've been working hard to inspire, engage, enable, and connect our members wherever they are, and even in challenging times like the ones we are currently in. So with the launch of this campaign, the IFLA from Home series, we started sharing tools, ideas, and resources so every one of us can benefit from being part of a strong and united global library field from wherever we are. So we offered those from our homes, literally, to your homes, literally as well, in an effort to keep you busy, happy, and engaged. So the way we've been doing this is through sending bi-monthly emails to our biggest subscription mailing list, the IFLA L list, where you could all get added for free, of course. And secondly, by sharing these materials through our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and sometimes LinkedIn as well. So what we have been sharing is highlights of what you could do from home to engage with the global library field. Through the IFLA from Home series, we're sharing things like, for example, like we created and offered to you a picture with the We Are IFLA picture that you could all use as a Zoom background during your meetings, even they are not IFLA related. Or we shared updates on the intellectual freedom checklist, or news around COVID-19 and libraries, or how IFLA celebrated the World Refugee Day, and many, many more. We always share maximum 3 topics so that you don't feel overwhelmed, because we know very well how busy this period has been for all of us. So we only like to draw your attention 2 times per month to specifically spotted highlights that can connect you with the rest of the world. So you could easily follow those series. So we're going to continue to do those series, and you could easily follow them in 2 ways. First, subscribe to the IFLA L list if you're not already there. And secondly, follow us on our social media channels, as I said, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Destina. So now I'm going to invite all of our speakers back onto the screen to answer your questions. We have time for a couple of questions. So if you could all show yourselves, it'd be great to see your faces as you answer questions. Great. So let's start with, what are some of, as IFLA is an international organization, what are some of the benefits of thinking about library and information related issues outside of your own country? What are some of the benefits that you, and anyone, please feel free to answer the question. Don't be shy.
Just to be sure, did you ask the speakers or did you ask the auditorium?
I'm asking all of you, all of the speakers.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, so as IFLA is an international organization, what are some of the benefits of thinking about libraries and information outside of your own country?
I guess we all have built up experience. I see all this is going up step by steps. First, you're building up in your own community. Then most of us tried to get connected with the best minds in the country, and then you're going further. Then you try to get really connected with the best people in the world when you are ambitious to develop. And IFLA is such a chance. It has the biggest network in the library field. They are working more than 1,200 experts for all aspects of the global library world and of our profession together. And it's an incredible chance to build up. And it's never too early and it's never too late. Therefore, start in this moment, try to get in. When you are a young professional, it's an exciting world where you can go in. And if you are an experienced librarian, the same chance? Where do you have a chance to get together with such experts, outstanding people who are giving a push to the whole library field? You have the chance to become part of this movement. This is IFLA offering you.
Harold, does anyone else want to weigh in on this question? Okay, another question that we have is what are library associations doing now in the time of
I'll just say
Corona?
something, and I think
Go ahead, Helen.
sometimes that people get their own workplace.
Continue, Helen. I think there's just a bit of delay.
Sorry, I think I'm not coming through quite well.
Okay.
I was just saying that sometimes people get very wrapped up in their own workplace and even in what's happening perhaps in their own country. And it can be quite refreshing to get involved internationally, or to read about what's happening in another country, or to meet, whether it's virtually or in some other platform, with people. And it broadens your horizons. I think sometimes you might think, well, we know what we're doing, but you'd be surprised where.
Oh, I think that Helen is frozen there. So I'm going to continue with the next question, which is what have some library associations been doing during the time of COVID or the coronavirus? What are some, maybe some innovative or interesting things that you've been seeing associations doing?
Yeah, we've been.
Despina?
Yeah, yeah. There are some really interesting things that we've been seeing library associations that have been doing during this difficult time. Well, one of the best examples is actually with us here, Mara from Latvia, that they have turned their physical conference to an online one, and they have already online elections. They did it quite quickly, nationally, of course. Also, in Latin America, the Infotecarios joined forces with the IFLA and the ASCOBI, and they did a virtual forum, Bibliotecas en Casa, so libraries at home. And they actually developed a discussion online. So with the hashtag, you could see many ideas of what you could, what libraries could do while they were closed, or they could do for their users remotely from home, and so on. Liansa in New Zealand did a very innovative thing. They did daily drop-in Zoom calls for librarians. So they gathered librarians together to discuss COVID-related and broader library questions, or just chat. Others, so in North America, they curated lists that included COVID-19 resources for the LIS community. And another interesting thing, it's an association, it's a national network of libraries of medicine. They did, they curated texts and resources for mindfulness for librarians and library-related issues. So yeah, that's on the top of my head, and but there are many more, I'm sure.
It's quite a list of resources.
I guess Stephen could add also some examples.
Absolutely. So we have actually quite a comprehensive list, I think, of almost 50 countries where the National Library Associations have acted in different ways. So all of the examples that Despina have mentioned are on there. This is on our COVID-19 and libraries page. The link has been in the chat earlier. I think where library associations have been really powerful is, firstly, bringing together information, really supporting their members in the same way that IFLA looks to support its own members with key information, allowing people not to have to look all over the place to work out what to do, but to have these centralized resources that can really help. And secondly, creating that space to think to the future. There's a lot of talk going on about a new normal, where we will go next. Library associations are those spaces where we can actually do that thinking, do that planning, do that conceptualization. And again, IFLA looks to do this at the global level, national library associations at the national level, making sure that we don't lose sight of where we're going in the long run.
Thanks, Stephen. A question for Marta. I'm not sure if you can hear me, Marta, but maybe you can answer this question. What are some challenges that you faced in having to immediately turn your conference from an in-person conference into a virtual conference? What were some of the things that you encountered in this transformation? Oh, I think you're muted. Yes.
You hear me? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Of course, we have many challenges. First of all, we have to change all face-to-face program to online program. We shorten our lecturers, and there was cancelled all tickets and so on. But we have chosen to organize it online, and I think it was right choose. Because I have also after our event many compliments that people have the feeling of our festival, because it's always 2 days and people are very fun and joyful and to see each other, because this feeling was also in this online event. But of course it was very hard job, and we have many duties to do this. So if you want to give some questions, you can write to me personally. I can try to help you also. Yeah.
I imagine many people will be making that move. Does anyone have any final words or comments before we end for today?
I was going to say that there was one very specific question about authority control on Wikimedia, and that's in fact exactly what Wikidata is looking to do, to really bring together concepts and actually underpin all of the factual work, all of the textual information that there is on there, underpin it with actually properly unified, agreed concepts. So do get involved in that.
Great. Thank you. So I just want to say thank you for joining us here today, and thank you to our guest, Mara Jacobson, for being our guest speaker today. Please join us later at the IFLA booth in the expo area. And Gerald, would you like to send us off to the expo area? Any parting words before we leave?
No, first I have to say I thank you all for your great contributions. As always, I'm proud of the IFLA team. I have to say you have done it also well, and I hope you got some ideas how it would be to work together with us, and really looking very much forward to see as many of you in the IFLA family. And thank you, Megan, for guiding us here, and please guide us now to the IFLA booth.
All right, so we'll see you over in the expo area. We're all heading over there now, and we hope to see you and chat with you there. Bye.